Hey, beautiful. Welcome to my channel. This is Kenlyn and the Astro and Energy Report for the week of February 23rd. It's a good week. It's a positive week, and we are in new moon territory. So this is your new moon activation. Now, this new moon is in Pisces. It's big because there's a stellium in Pisces, meaning other celestial bodies are joining the sun and the moon in Pisces on Thursday as a new moon. And speaking of Thursday, we have the Goddess Convergence live beginning at 11 a.m. Pacific time and going for 4 hours a day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So pop in because this is yin week. We have Pisces ruling this week, and your emotions may be like a roller coaster all over this place, but it's yin week. It's the week to feel. It's the week when the veils are thin. So what better place than Goddess Convergence for you to be? So take some time to pop on your calendar a couple times, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, to come inside and enjoy the nourishment of being with the goddesses and activating new codes. That's what this thing is all about. And I'm going to tell you more about it, but you can pop down into the link in the description and for free opt in. And then you'll get the program, the schedule, and you'll know when you want to come in and join us live. The one thing you could do is just be there at the beginning. I'm going to do an activation of the 1,000 goddesses. It's a Tibetan myth. We did it last year. It was super powerful. And we're going to do it again this year as the opening ceremony to Goddess Convergence. And I'm a stand for this because as I go deeper with the goddesses, I go deeper into feminine reclamation. What I'm seeing is how much of us, and I'm saying you, me, as the identification of the feminine, the goddess here in flesh, is really not even alive in our 3D world yet. She's been so written out of our histories, of our ancestral lines, that we remember only in our bones. We remember in our blood, and we remember when we're together. And that remembrance, we have only just scratched the tip of the iceberg with this, really. So I believe that we are getting poised for the biggest outpouring of the divine feminine. We haven't seen it yet. And she's also very yin. She's behind the scenes. She doesn't need to be front and center because she's like water, like Pisces. She fills the nooks and the crannies of life. And you have no idea how your life is animated and filled up with her, because she's like water, like a fish in water. It just is. And our capacity to experience her, the fullness of this Shakti energy as us, as our embodiment, is expanding. And we can only do that in community. You know, the rules have changed. We're not getting our gnosis in a cave by ourselves. That was very Piscean era, of the era of the guru. But we're in the era of community. So we must bring these codes together and weave them so that we could see the tapestry. And that's really my intention. In addition to an antidote to the bro culture that I spoke about last week in the transmission, this yin activation with this Pisces new moon, sun and moon together, joined by these epic planets, particularly Neptune, opening up the higher octaves of love, is what's possible. And so here's the thing. The new moon is happening on Thursday, and it's really happening after Goddess Convergence. I find that interesting that we are initiating Goddess Convergence in the dark of the moon. It gives me chills because, of course, who else would be in the dark together? So bring your furry blanket, bring your cup of tea, bring your Kleenex box, because there's probably going to be a lot of cathartic letting go so that you can receive more. That's the game we're playing right now, because this Pisces stellium, and I'm going to mention that several times and tell you what it is asking us to clear the way, clear the decks, final letting go, because something new is coming through. Can you feel it? It's not here yet. And if that new thing looks like it's here, it's probably not it, because the new is coming, but we're still in the shedding mode. And yes, there's no bright line rules. Just like the goddess, it's very mysterious and messy. If you've ever been to a birth or given birth yourself, I've been to 2 births. It's just like messy. And you think at some point it's like not going to happen, right? Have you ever thought that? Like, oh, you know what? The baby's just not coming. It's not. And guess what? The baby comes. The baby comes, but she comes through what? Force. moving the bones out of the way, moving all the organs, everything out of the way, make space for the baby to come. And that, my friends, is the portal from Pisces to Aries. And we're in that portal right now. Sun, Moon, and Venus. Venus is in Aries, but she's going to retrograde back to Pisces. So she's in this conversation of this portal, of this birth canal. And that's the message of this new moon. So let's talk about this new moon. This new moon happens in Pisces at about 9 degrees. I believe it's 40. Yeah, 9 degrees 40. And that means the sun and the moon are both in Pisces. We have Mercury, the messenger, our mind, also in Pisces. Doesn't love that place, right? Because the messages are visual. They are subterranean. They are often unclear. Mercury likes more specificity. It likes Gemini. But in Pisces, it feels a little bit like a fish out of water. Yet it can still receive messages just differently. And then we have Saturn, the great teacher, the Lord of karma. In Pisces is like the dissolution of some structure, even time. So when we enter the portal of Goddess Convergence, whoa, like time will not be there. So like 4 hours could be like that. You might come for 15 minutes and stay for 4 hours and be like, wait, what just happened? That's Saturn in Pisces. We also have Neptune. Now, this is huge because we have Neptune, who is the ruler. It's the strongest influence in this stellium in Pisces. And Neptune's at 28 degrees. Let me make sure that's right. Yes. And the North Node in Pisces. The North Node is not a planet or a celestial body. It's a point. And remember how the North Node has moved into Pisces for 18 months, starting in January. And this gives us access to our mystical self, to unconditional love. That's really my intention in this Goddess Convergence, like the deepest part of it. Because if there's ever a time to bring it, it would be now. And it is the elixir that the world is looking for. And maybe in our emotions up and down, because Pisces is water, ocean. Think about being on a boat. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. 1 minute there's a storm and the waters are turbulent. The next minute it's like pleasant and still. That's territory. It's disorienting. So if you identify with your emotions, meaning they get to run the show, boy, you're going to go on a roller coaster. But if you can be the witness of those emotions, feel them and let them go because they want to move. And this is how we're ending. This is how we're completing a cycle. I mean, isn't that poetic? Before we go into birthing ourselves in the I am Aries, we're going to go on an emotional roller coaster. So in this period, between now, the date I'm filming this on the 23rd of February till March 1st, we have all planets direct. Yeah. Even that Mars little booger I'm going to talk about in a minute is moving direct, finally. So we have some energy moving forward and it's turbulent, choppy waters. So just enjoy the ride, especially if you have a defined solar plexus in human design. You are going to go on a ride. If you don't have that, if you have white and it's undefined, then you're going to be an amplifier for the people who have it defined. So just watch your energy field, mine, your own lane. And if you're riding a wave, I've been riding waves. I've been crying a lot, but even crying with beauty. So just allow those tears to come through and join us, because what better place to do that than like in our own red tent, really. So let's see, we talked about Sun, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune and the North Node. So the Neptune and North Node are forming a conjunction. So they're operating as one. And we've talked about this before, but I want to bring it in because it's part of this stellium. When we have a stellium, they all act as one. So there's huge force in this Piscean area of your chart that the new moon is activating something new that will also get initiated in eclipse season in a couple of weeks, because it's a lunar eclipse, right? So we go back to the new moon before that, and this is the new moon before that lunar eclipse in Virgo. So it's in the opposite. So we're playing on the axes of heaven and earth. Pisces representing heaven, oneness, earth, Virgo. She's also the goddess, the high priestess, the medicine woman, the earth goddess, the herbalist. So think about new ways of bringing through healing. So this point of the North Node and Neptune represents this octave of love, higher love, universal love, speaking to our future destiny. The North Node in Pisces. They're having a conversation, seeding in our hearts a future filled with love. I keep speaking about it, and I've never been a person to talk about love because I think it's so abstract when you talk about it. I remember coming home from India in 2001, and I was saying to my mom, it's only love. It's all about love. And you know, when you hear that and you're not having the experience of it, you just go, oh, okay, yeah. It's moving and you're not having the experience of it. So I rarely talk about it. And I'm noticing that I'm speaking more about this and I'm seeing it more and more because I think there's a zeitgeist, because of course it's in the North Node. It's where we're going. It's our possibility to step into heaven here on earth. That's our challenge. That's our mandate. And so how do we do that? We embody the love. And we're going to talk about that inside Goddess Convergence. There's a number of sisters who are bringing that activation of love and of unity. I'm thinking of one starting on Ahita. It's a Friday morning, and it's going to be about the codes of this love and this beauty coming through. All of it really is that. That's what we're working with right now. So we're removing obstacles to that love. And they could be subconscious, unconscious. We don't even know what they are. We might think we know what they are, but we don't even know what they are. But they're going to get removed. Because when we talk about the North Node and the South Node, we're talking about events that are fated. And these can have personal consequences for you in your life. If you had a reading with your chart, or if you knew where Pisces was in your chart, you could do some contemplation. And these are big collective energies. So we're stepping into a time, as we have been, of deeper release, of more letting go. And that eclipse that's coming in mid-March is going to be the remover of those things. You know, I'm moving. I'm moving house, right? Packing my things up, going to put them in storage, moving to a new place, just feeling the inner call, stepping into the unknown. At times, it's terrifying. And at other times, it's very peaceful and still. Being guided by something deeper. And the mind can be like, wow, you are nuts. You are crazy. Why are you doing this? But I'm noticing I am doing it. So there's something that doesn't want to fight with this reality of what's happening. Maybe you have something similar in your life right now. So Mars is going to help us out here because finally Mars, right after this transmission, my filming of this transmission is going direct, stationing direct, like finally turning forward at the 17 degrees of Cancer. So note where that is in your chart. It's been one heck of a wild ride. If things have felt stuck since December 6th, they have been. Because this Mars retrograde, this planet of action, has completely stalled out to unearth. Remember, there was also this opposition to Pluto. So we had wars. We still have wars, but we had like the apex of these wars, hostility, you know, political like vomit. And now Mars is going to move out of Cancer and into Leo, way more comfortable in a fire sign. And at the same time, March 1st, we have Venus, who's already in her pre-shadow retrograde, stationing retrograde in Aries. So this goddess is in the territory of Mars, of the masculine, and Mars has been in the territory of the feminine. Very interesting for who are we becoming as masculine, feminine? New codes coming through, new codes for relationship. And then she's going to retrograde back to Pisces and then turn direct through Aries. At the same time, we've got mid-March happening, and that's the equinox and the sun moving into Aries. Right before that is that total lunar eclipse. So some crazy turbulent times, yet this week is all direct until Venus stations retrograde. So we're going to feel some momentum and movement, but we may need to keep our tissues near our face and dry our tears as we move through. We may need to witness our emotions as maybe anger arises. Anger may be there to move some of that stuckness out. In the Northern Hemisphere, particularly where I am, we're going to be moving into spring. We can already feel it here. The flowers are already up. And that's not the case with every place in the Northern Hemisphere, but it's coming. Spring is coming. Newness is coming. And that's also the time of year of the liver and anger. So that anger is what just tries to shed that stagnation of winter. So do some things that your embodiment is calling you toward, like movement, like cleansing. I don't know if you know this, but my naturopath taught me that 10 days before the equinox, your body naturally does a cleansing. It's signaled by the light codes. So don't wear sunglasses outside, y'all, especially early in the morning. Let those light codes come in, even at sunset, early and late. And your body is getting signaled to start to shed the stagnation for this movement into a cardinal sign, an initiatory sign. We are moving into Aries, the beginning of the zodiac, and a new beginning for all of us. And we got an eclipse there. So again, we can see, and we've been seeing this throughout the last few years, that the newness requires the letting go of the old. So perhaps you've gotten clear about what it is that's no longer serving your growth. And you're taking steps, as I am, boxing things up, taking steps, action. And this week, things are going to move. So I think I've covered it. This is a very yin time. We do have Mars trining Saturn, which will stabilize this time. So I don't think that we're going to feel completely knocked off our center. More likely, we're going to feel tired or emotional, low energy. And if that's the case, come in. I mean, even if it's not the case, but come into Goddess Convergence and let us all just be in that vortex of energy together. It's not a great time for launching. And this is what's happening. And so I'm really trusting, like, this is what the goddess intended for right now. She wants us in that yin place, truly receptive. Stop pushing. Stop trying to make things happen. Stop. Receive the new codes. It'll be so much easier. It's like the software upgrade. And that's really what an eclipse does. It's a reboot. It'll be so much easier with the new codes. So are you willing to let yourself be a vessel of the new frequency, the elevated frequency of the goddess who wants to come in to write the story, like RIGHT, to write the story? It's been wronged for centuries, for thousands of years. It's time to reclaim our story, our feminine lineage, and bring to the table the codes of unity, peace, and love. This is our province as divine feminine sisters. We carry this. If you're in the masculine, you carry that as well as your own inner feminine. So let's rub our hands together and let's beam out all the positive energy that we have generated, our intention here for love. And let's say together, may all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts. I'll see you on Thursday. Lots of love.